to the Losing It podcast. It is the start of January and the new year. Well, Happy New Year to you. If I think we've seen them until now. This is the first one.
No, it is the first one. Yeah, I know. I saw you doubt yourself then. I saw
I
it in
did. I
your
mean,
face. You're absolutely right. You're in the right place. It's okay. It's all good. Happy New Year, everybody. It's snuck up on us. We talk a lot about getting ready for, and then it's so hot on the heels of Christmas that I think we do that thing of focusing so hard, and then we drift. And people talk about it being the betwixtmas and there being that sort of dead week between and all that. I actually really like that fallow time. I'm not sure that January is a new year. Actually, we're in that sort of deepest hibernation of, the circadian rhythms. We're actually in the deepest part of winter right now. And there is so much messaging and so much pressure to be blooming. And I mean, it is a bit odd in the southeast where I live. I've seen daffodils. The daffodils are out. Nobody, they have no idea what time of year it is or who they are or when they're supposed to be up. Nor do we. Nor do we. There's a huge amount of pressure to be blooming right now and to the reinvention. And actually, that language goes around springtime when, the days start getting longer and the sun comes back and the earth turns. And, now we're like, I just need to want it badly enough. I need to want to, this pressure to be super motivated. It's really out of whack with where nature is. And as humans, as mammals, as, we are still big jumpers under the covers, wanting
yeah.
to hunker down and watch the traitors. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. In fact, it's weird, isn't it? Because, like you said, there's this narrative that's almost like we should be up and at 'em and, full of energy. And it's like, actually, what we naturally want to do is hunker down, go more insular. Let's face it, in the UK, it's dark, it's cold, no one's going outside, we're
That's
not
the thing.
socializing.
January doesn't require reinvention of you.
No.
It does need direction. Because if
Yes.
we go too far down that road, we'll never come out from under that blanket.
No, and that's what I
You
was going
need
to say is like you can utilize January in a different way where you don't have to feel like you're faking this motivation. But it
Yes.
is a very useful month with the right direction, with the right plan in place, with the kind of right mindset. I've been talking a lot of my slimmers who are, coming back to plan post Christmas about January is a really good time to hunker down and take care of yourself, to take time for yourself, to
I
think
think
about
that's the
what you
difference,
want,
isn't it?
look after yourself.
And sometimes that pendulum of messaging can go too far the other way, which is
Yeah.
you don't need a new you. You're amazing just the way you are. Now, speaking of somebody that did use January 2025 as a starting point for my own weight loss last year, but not just my weight loss, the sort of ripple effect of working on other areas of my life, my personal development, my boundary setting, all of those things that have made me feel better. It's also sometimes it too far the other way where you're like you're lovely just the way you are and you can feel so stuck because you're like, well, am I being a sucker for buying into this new January new me new year thing? Is that a weakness on mine? Am I just falling foul of the diet industry and you already feel inadequate before you've even started? The difference is, yes, it is a new period. And yes, you can want all of those things. But like Heidi just said, those small daily actions, that a plan that actually works, or laying the foundation for a plan for when that kicks in. The just a supported you. And that positioning is really important because the you don't need to do it is such a kind of it's almost like a lazy just resign yourself to where you are then. And that's
Yeah.
that's too much as well, because there is that flame of wanting to do something. There is that kernel of self-belief that you're like, well, maybe now is my moment. Maybe now I actually can do it, which I think leads us to what we actually want to talk about, which is you absolutely can. And
Yeah.
I'm saying you can't do it on your own, but do not make it any harder for yourself than needs be, because body doubling, it's called the zone of proximal development, isn't it? Body
Yeah, I
doubling
think
when you're
so.
standing next to near somebody that
Yes.
what your
That's
what your
already
and
doing
your
it.
plans and your
And then
desires are.
it's easier to do it yourself,
Yeah.
and
So come
really kind of
February,
what
we
we're
go,
offering.
hey, how's that thing you said you wanted to do? How's that going? How's that
It's
working out?
why it's why you turn up to the slimming group back in the day with your mate. Like there's a
Oh my
reason that you
gosh,
want to
yes,
do it with your
buddying up.
mum, with your friend, with you want to buddy up. Your natural inclination to buddy up with someone is
It
because
is a quietly brilliant idea, actually, isn't it? And in weight loss, you change in company when
yeah,
you know you're doing it because, I will turn up if you're going. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and it's all of those things. And like Nell said, you I think our brains, especially when weight loss, it wants to do the all or nothing, and it wants to do it with everything. So it's either I am reinventing myself or I am not doing any of it.
No.
And there is somewhere in the middle to be had. And there is nothing wrong with using, like Nell said, this new start, the new energy of a start of another year to go, okay, is this the time? But it doesn't mean that you've suddenly got to turn into someone you're not
And
or
that's
find all
not
this
about,
extra
yeah, it's not
energy.
about not being able to do it on your own. But I think what I would say from my understanding is you don't change in isolation. You
No.
know, when somebody else knows what you're aiming for, when they are checking in with you and when they share that space, and as a consultant, when we hold that space, because we know that it's important, it's those check-ins, those focus calls, the opportunity to say it out loud, to plan, to acknowledge, to celebrate the success and the development and the progress, all of those things. That is when your nervous system relaxes. Now, we could be doing all of those things now and never weighing in.
Yeah.
I mean, we can also crack the whip and weigh in, and we can accountability, and we can do challenges. Well, our job is to work with who you are and what you want right now. But there is a huge sense of over ambition, isn't there? That this has to hurt to work, that it has to in some way be punitive. That there's something to pay off from the Christmas indulgence, and that unless we are giving it our all and out racing and pacing ourselves. I do think the first month, the first couple of weeks is very important because it tends to set the tone for
Yes.
what comes next. And so if you are over ambitious and you crash out, well, that's not the tone we want for 2026. You change in company, and there's a lot of that kind of that in sort of personal development circles, isn't there? You get your vibe from your tribe.
Yeah.
You change with the company that you keep. They are reflecting back at you what so pick good company and somebody to hold that space, because you're not just following a plan, you are being seen and acknowledged whilst you do it.
Exactly. And I think it's that whole thing, isn't it? All this, we set the resolutions and then this percentage of people fail halfway through January. Well, it's because we set a resolution with the expectation was perfection, and it was so high and it was so hard and it was such a change, a sea change from not just where we were, but us as people. We were suddenly going to do 101 things and be this whole different person. And you're like, actually, why don't we just work with where you're at right now? Why don't we not make wild promises to ourselves? Why don't
Yes,
we
just
just
listening to you
start
say
and see
that,
where
the
it
decision,
goes?
yeah, decision already feels lighter. I
Yeah,
felt like that the very first time I reached out to my consultant, and it's why I'm still here all these years later, because I hope that it's not that I'm saying magical things, it's that I hope that the role that I play in your life right now, it will make that feel lighter for you too. It might help you to stop drifting. It might help you to show up for yourself. And I think that's really important, isn't it? When somebody, how is today going? It creates that tiny tether between you and your goal
yeah,
and what you said you wanted to do. And it breaks down. We've talked about this a lot, haven't we? That thing of, goal just feels like a mountain. It feels like
yes.
such a long way away. And, that's really hard. Your brain sort of starts bargaining and
Oh,
drifting, and if I can do
there's
this by then, and if I haven't started by now, then
yeah,
I could, but if I lose that much this week, then
all
and
of it.
that body doubling almost, it tethers you back to your goal and to managing your whole plan, but without judgment. So your consultant is not here as to control you. We do suggest the right plan for you, and within, but it is about making that connection. You are always the priority in that. Now, what makes it the zone of proximal development, or the interesting body doubling, is not that we are necessarily losing weight with you. Actually, sometimes buddying up can be very difficult with somebody that's a bit close, your mum, your sister, your best mate, because it can get competitive. I think a
Well,
lot of
and
people
also
would
it's
identify
easy
with
to get
that.
swayed by the other person if you're all trying to go for the same goal.
But the unique thing that we offer is that we have done it ourselves. So you're not working with somebody that doesn't know what we're asking of you. I'm never asking anything of you that I haven't done myself. I'm
Yeah.
only asking things that I know are possible. It's not, we're not just kind of, picking things out of, the thin air and being like, sure, you can do that. You can do, we're not bedding down with that. And I think a lot of peer-to-peer support, unwittingly, unintentionally, can create that. I think especially for women, I do think that that is a huge part of our success, don't you think? We are wired to regulate through relationship, and to hold that space for somebody and to take it seriously, I think it's an honor. I love being able to do that as a consultant, and I know we're both really passionate about it, aren't we?
Oh
If
yeah.
someone is walking beside you, you can you can think differently, you can be open to, you can stay with things longer. Yes, you can eat differently, but I think you can stay with things that little bit longer. And I think if you've ever thought I wanted to do it, but the coaching can feel a little bit overwhelming, a little bit like
Yes.
another commitment. It doesn't have to be like that, and it doesn't have to be as active of that. I think the best thing that Heidi and I can offer you at the beginning of the new year is to be a human anchor.
Yeah.
That's
And I
what we
think,
are.
it's really hard to be objective about yourself and have someone else actually say, We don't need to worry about any of that right now. We don't need to focus on any of that. All we've got to do is just today, and you just need to do
Yeah,
these two
exactly
things,
that.
actually.
And sometimes it's exactly that. It is not someone telling you off. It's someone telling you to stop telling yourself off.
Oh,
To
because
knock that right off.
I know that if you're watching this video, you've done that thing. You've done that thing where you've gone, if I lost £3 a week
The
for
bargaining.
17 weeks, by the time I get to, I would be Claudia Schiffer. And we do that whole, and it's so all consuming, it's so exhausting, and it kind of keeps you stuck when
It
actually
does. We talked a lot
you
about
can't
this, didn't we?
control any of that.
The mental load. I think it's what
Yeah.
a lot of people refer to as the food noise. We've been talking about it for years, but it's been co-opted by
Yeah, we just didn't name it that. We were talking about it in a slightly different way, but it's the same
I
thing.
used to years ago. I remember one of the most unexpectedly incredible benefits of losing weight was the space in my head and the decision
I have to think
fatigue,
about it
the
anymore.
getting rid of the decision fatigue,
Yeah.
because I just over the years being overweight had become my full-time job, my
Yes.
full-time thinking pattern, my full-time project, and it had and to the point where it had pushed aside and sacrificed all sorts of hobbies, conversations, interesting things that I could have been doing. And it really does hold you stuck. And I used to say to when I very first became a consultant, we used to sort of say to people, my new slimmers and stuff like, think of all the stuff you could do with that time. Because this is what I mean by body doubling. You are sharing with, somebody that really gets it. And it's not about, it's so much more than the way that you look.
Yes.
It's the thinking and the counting and the what to, I have to, there's jokes about it online, isn't there? Like nobody tells you as an adult you have to think about what to have for dinner every single day. Like again, I thought we just did
All the
that. Like again,
time. I
all
mean,
the books you can read, all the adventures that you can have, all the conversations you can, have because you are not thinking and counting in your head all the time.
yeah, it's huge, isn't it? And I think it's something that we don't often really think about in a way that, we take it seriously. We kind of go, oh, yeah, 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 that's not the thing, or "No, that's not important,
I
or
don't think people
convinced
even
everything.
realize that it's a
But
thing because they're not convinced that it will work.
no.
And I think there's a lot of that in January. I think we
But yeah, what I
feel
would
like we
say is,
should.
you don't need to know it's going to work. I don't think I was 100% convinced when I did the plan that this was actually going to work this time.
No,
I didn't really know. I wasn't convinced. But you know what? I thought, I'm just going to give it a go. I'm just going to focus on, I'm not going to set myself goals. I'm not going to say I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do whatever my consultant tells me to do and go see where I end up after a few weeks and how I feel about it. And that was the best thing I could have said, really, because then instead of worrying about all of that other stuff, I just focused on the bit I could control. And I had my consultant was the lovely Nell when I did my plan. And she guided me. And that's what we do for our
we're
plan.
very good at doing that and accepting that in other areas. I think it's a bit of a couch to 5K concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of us at this time of year or any kind of revolution, that resolution time where we're like, right, I'm going to run this. I'm going to sign up for that. I'm going to, we don't really, we don't go into year seven thinking about taking GCSEs. We don't. Things get kind of meted out over time. The whole concept of five couch to 5K is reasonably new, and the idea is absolutely not. It's or even smoking cessation, even it's not that, it's the cold turkey concept. Anything good we accept that we build over time, and we start by running for 30 seconds and then walking and then taking a rest, and then anything bad, it all has to be cold turkey, stop overnight, knock that
Straight
off,
away.
change.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, why do we do that? What's that about? And there you can absolutely flip any breaking of bad habits by taking all of the focus away from that and putting it on building new ones. If you're too busy, it's a vibe from your tribe again. If you're so busy putting all your energy into building the new, in the what happens now, where am I going, what do I want, and that reframing, then the bad habits have already been broken, they've taken care of themselves. And occasionally, the backslide is natural and that might draw our attention to it, but it will also draw your attention to the fact that you haven't thought about it. If you're constantly thinking about breaking bad habits, guess what? You get what you focus on. And if that's what I mustn't, I can't, I shouldn't, I'm not allowed, that's bad, but it is a process. Just like building up good habits, you have to also break down I don't want to call them bad
Yes.
habits particularly, but the less self-serving ones.
Yeah,
You
you kind of have to replace them over time, and that's why, in some ways, that kind of metering it out, that small steps at a time works because you're replacing something, so you don't feel the lack so much. So that's what makes it a little
You
bit
can run a little
easier.
bit further than you could yesterday. And it's
Yes.
very true with weight loss. We want to build up the habits that will get us to where we want to be. We want to focus on all the things that are making us feel better. But all the messaging is how much have you lost? How much further away are you from that horrible place? How much have you broken? How much have you undone the bad? And we wonder why people put weight back on, because if that is the narrative, that is where you will end up exactly where you want to. And that's really complicated. We
Yeah.
we could unpack the old self-sabotage and the
Yes, we could.
experience that I've had with all my slimmers over the years of why do I do this to myself now? Why? Tell me, why do I do this? I'm a smart, educated person. I know better than this. But if January, for all there are confused daffodils out there, and we may be one of them, for all of that, January may be the opportunity to change the script and
Yes.
position yourself for go. Because when go happens, you will be in the best place, being looked after by the very best people who do get it and want the best for you. And maybe you do need somebody in your life to tell you to knock it off. Just
Yes.
a little bit, to just pipe down, to tell her to just, with the voice in your
Yeah,
head saying,
to
shoulda,
those
woulda.
voices in their head to say, stop it, go take a seat. Not today. We do not have time for you.
That is the other thing, though. It is very difficult to stand up for yourself if
Oh,
you're
it's almost
feeling that
impossible,
kind
isn't
of
it?
pressure.
To those stand up to those voices in your head, those negative voices, that imposter syndrome. Those voices want to say, you thought you could do it before and you failed. What makes this time different? All of that gets very loud when you're on your own. And it is often why people find it so hard to lose weight on their own. And I know for myself, I struggled to do it on my own for the longest time. And the effect was I just got fatter because the voices got so loud and you get down on yourself and then you get stuck in a shame cycle and it all just starts feeling so big and overwhelming and it just feels a lot. And when you have somebody on your side walking with you going, I see all of that. And let me separate what's true and what's fact. And then let's talk about how we can make that feel better. What are the practical solutions? This is what I know to be true. This is what's helped people. How is this feeling? And just take some of that noise away. Put some objectivity back in there. Remind you of the progress you are actually making because you are making progress, even just showing up for yourself. Even just watching this is a step in the right direction. It all starts adding up in the end.
Yeah.
And to have someone talking you through that and reminding you of that value means that you're not getting stuck focusing on that lack and that negative so much that's pulling you back down, that actually you're able to build the momentum and start moving forward positively and making those changes for yourself.
Yes. And once you've built that level of trust, you can do the lower steps of the plan
Yes.
because you know you're in the right place, doing the right thing. And ironically, that's where the brilliant weight loss happens. But those two things do happen hand in hand.
Yeah.
But they don't come from pressure. They don't come from beating yourself up. They don't come from mismanaging your expectations, being over ambitious, talking a big game. This is not a job interview. You don't have to convince me. You just have to keep showing up,
Yeah.
keep showing up, and that in itself becomes the very best number one habit that you can build in 2026 because yes, that's also what will get the weight off, a lot of it, if that's what you want or you need, but that's almost in brackets. It's in brackets. It's the bit that you never see in a before and after photograph, the repeated showing up for oneself.
Oh,
And
100%.
and we will be here to catch you
Yeah.
as many times as you need, and we'll be here to celebrate for the weeks and weeks on end where you've found your groove and you are just running with it. It's all there. It's all there for the taking. And if, like me, you didn't see Titanic until 10 years later because, anything where there's a bit of hype, I just it's a controversy. It's the perverse part of my brain that just goes, well, I can't see that now. I've never seen Stranger Things. I've only just watched Orange is the New Black. I mean, it is brilliant, but I mean, I'm years behind. The point is, if you don't want to do it in January, don't do it in January. Don't do it in January because they're all doing it in January. But come and have the conversation. Just have the conversation. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face because you might be missing out on something really, really good.
Because it might turn out that,
And then we'll put in a conversation. Then
yeah,
we'll start planning February.
yeah.
That's oh,
Or we might find out that you kind of did want to do it in January after all, if nobody else knew about it. And if, didn't have to say
well,
that out
there is
loud and
that
admit to it,
exactly.
just,
But
come do it with us.
that
It'll
is
be
the level
fine.
of self-priority that we're looking for, isn't it? This is you. It's your journey. You deserve the support. You are
That's what
deserving.
the others
You know,
think.
the day it changes is the day you decide that you're worth it, not the date that it says on the calendar. But if
No,
they happen to align, there's nothing wrong with that either. January 1st last year, I cannot tell you. I've been thinking about it for weeks, and it gave me a boundary that was such a relief. It was such a
yes.
relief.
And I think
And I
that is
didn't
the
and I,
benefit
I
of
didn't let the
January.
bully in my head tell me that because it was a cliche
Yeah.
that I should avoid it. I didn't. From January the 1st, I weighed in every single week throughout 2025 and I lost over 4 stone. And I just kept showing up. It was actually deceptively simple. Make it
And
easy,
yeah,
but it makes it is a very straightforward. And I did it with the one-to-one diet because I wanted to know that I wanted to reassure myself that I was in the right place doing the right thing and that this works. And that is what also makes a really effective body double.
yes.
It's that thing of, knowing that it works and really believing in and understanding the nuances of the plan. So, we can step up, we can change, we can redirect all the time. And that kind of problem solving and troubleshooting is not better luck next week, hun. It's
Yeah, no,
not,
it's not
well,
that.
just keep going. Have you eaten enough protein? Always a valid question, but it's not the only question. It's not hashtag the more you drink, the more you shrink. It's working on all of those things holistically because you show up for yourself on repeat and you're willing to work on all of those nuances for the greater good because you're building something incredible here. You're building a bright, better, more in control, healthier, thinner future for yourself. You're getting all of those aspects wrapped up in weight loss, not just, I will starve myself silly until I'm thin.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep it off as well. And the long-term maintenance, when you talk about body doubling, my maintainers are still in touch with me years and
Yes.
yonks. If all they're
Exactly.
doing is coming once every 3 months to basically have a chat,
Yeah. Have
tell
a
me how
catch up.
brilliant it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also tell me how they're doing it. I find that fascinating.
Yes. Because
Tell me how they're
everyone is
doing it.
doing it slightly differently because
Because
we're
I
all
pick up I
unique
pick up all of that
humans.
information. I collate it all, don't you?
Yes.
So that you
And
can
then
then
we
share
use
it with
it to
other
support
people.
you guys, the new people that come
And
along and say, I
that's
would
what I
like to
wanted
do
for
it.
myself last year. I wanted to be one of those people and reassure myself that you can do it, you can lose weight, you can keep it off, and you can understand it and love the process enough to want to pull out all the information to share with other people. Because if there's one thing, if there's anybody that ever felt like I used to at
I know.
18 stone at 5'5", if there's anybody that felt the utter failure and lump that I felt in 2024, having put 4 of those stone back on, then doing what I do for a living, knowing all of that, knowing better, I shoulda, woulda, all of the rest of it. I don't want anybody to ever feel like that. Like Heidi said, feeling victim to your own bullying and negative self-talk. Because if that's where you are, I am still here. Heidi is still here. We will come and we will sit next to you and we will say, look, just because you're not saying that out loud doesn't mean we can't hear it. You knock
Exactly.
you knock
You
that
know,
right off. You book in and you stick with us, girl, because you are in the right place. You found the right cheerleading team.
exactly. And we do this because we're so passionate because we don't want people to feel how we used to feel. And both of us have dealt with weight gain and putting ourselves back on the plan and seeing the results for ourselves and how that works. and working through that shame piece that comes with that and knowing how it feels. We totally 100% get it. We
And
aren't
still
just
turning to
saying
each
that.
other and going, it works. It really does. It works. And then still
It
being
works.
surprised.
We 100% get it. We are humans who have done it as well, and we are here to support you with that. We're just one step ahead with that information that you need just to move you a little bit further along every single time to get you to where you want to be. And you can be that person.
Oh,
You know that person when you go, I don't think I can ever be that. I don't think I'll ever be her. You can be her.
yeah.
You just won't realize you've got there until suddenly you're there and you go, oh, I'm one of them people. I'm one
And
of
and it's
them
and the
people.
brilliant thing is by then you've gone too far to come
But
back.
then, if that's just your life, you can get the results. You can do this. And
And
all it requires,
it's because I am her that I rallied.
exactly.
It's because there was somewhere in there was that
Yes, you're
fight
still
back
there.
of listening to the, and also, I mean, just this is a very personal thing, and I am supporting lots of clients at the moment who are using the weight loss medication. But I didn't want to go down that road because a lot of the messaging had shifted into do it in secret, be ashamed, and I was after the grief and the stress of the weight gain and what had caused that in my life. I was really vulnerable to that. And
Yes.
I feel quite strongly that there are lots of other people who are just like me, who feel that that preys into, as much as it works for some people, it does slightly prey into the just do it in secret, do it quietly, do it. And it doesn't offer anything that we just did. And it's really doubled down. That's why I'm so proud to support those people on GLP-1s, because they recognize what that extra wraparound, what that accountability, body doubling, being in the
The
zone,
value of it. Yeah.
what that offers alongside. It's not just the method of weight loss, it's the standing up for yourself in that process. And taking a medication in private is, I mean, I respect the in private thing, but not if it comes with that heavy dose of shame. And
Mm.
that messaging is, that's why I wanted to do it with the one-to-one diet and prove to myself that what we offer is really valuable, and being able to offer it to myself with a level of self-compassion,
Yeah.
reach out to other brilliant consultants like Heidi. You get your vibe from your tribe, and by sticking together I really reassured myself that this is brilliant, and if I ever see anybody in the same position as me, I want to be wearing the t-shirt, holding the banner,
Yeah.
shouting it from the rooftops.
Yes.
It makes a huge difference, and you deserve that.
Oh,
Please
you
don't think you,
100% do.
yeah.
And it just, all it takes is just deciding to show up for yourself day one. That's it. I mean, I remember when I did the plan originally, and I had to say to myself this in 2025 as well, and I was like, okay, starting to feel how I used to feel. This is not good. I've put some weight back on, and I'm feeling not so great about things. I had to say, I am not giving up on myself again. And I
That's
had
what I
to
mean.
just keep
Because I'd done
saying it
it.
to myself. And that was all. Not the days, there were days where the plan did not plan. I did not do it.
Me
I
neither.
wanted to throw the towel in, but I came back to no, I'm not giving up on myself. Let's get back together, make a plan, speak to my consultant,
It's
do
what
what
you
I need
said
to
earlier.
do.
It's the basis of Aaron Beck's cognitive behavioral
Yeah,
therapy. CBT works on, the premise of what is real and challenging those self-beliefs. We've learned a lot, haven't we? We all know about limited beliefs and, growth mindsets and things. But interestingly, this is a separate video, but very quickly, Judith Beck was married to Aaron Beck. Judith Beck wrote the Beck Diet Solution. It's phenomenal. It's CBT for weight loss. I've used it in my role for this and my own personal weight loss for years. It is fascinating, and it comes with a workbook, and it's something that we access a lot whilst working with our slimmers. We don't make you do the worksheets. There's no homework, don't worry. But the point is that you just hit it on the head. It's that thing of listening to the voices in your head and actually challenging those beliefs. And when you have done it before, you become much better at examining that evidence. You and I both looked at ourselves last year and went, but hang on a minute, I've got all this evidence that this can be done and that I can do it. And why am I listening to that self-defeating voice, that self-sabotage, for want of a, for a better phrase, when the evidence is in? I've done it. I've done it before. This isn't starting all over again. This is coming at things with a bit of wisdom, and this is a rally. And I think there's a lot of people out there as well who think that they can't do it, and they are quite vulnerable to then going back under a rock, which is where I was.
Yeah. And I think
Don't
also,
do it to yourself because the
yeah,
evidence is in. You can do it. And if you need to come back round again, there is no shame in that. In actual fact, there's an extra special gold medal for that because life will get you and you will have to keep rallying and you will have to keep coming back round. But every time you do, you're winning.
you're stronger. You
Yeah.
come with all the experience, all the knowledge, all the things you've learned about yourself, about what works, what doesn't work. Your life may have changed, but you have all those skills. We're going to build on them. You're not starting again. You're not throwing it all in the bin. That's absolute rubbish. And your brain will tell you that, and it's not true. And also, you can still do it, even though you've gone through the menopause, even though your hormones are playing. That is not a reason that it will not work. I know your brain wants to tell you that. It wanted to tell me that too. It wanted to tell me, no, this is it now. You just got to settle in. You can't make this any better. You just got to accept it. You're going to get older now. This is your body. No. No, I don't have to accept it. And there's still plenty of life to live. And I want to feel good
I'm,
doing it.
and I really need to hear that from somebody that I believe it from. That's the biggest difference. I
And that's what I
really need to
had to
hear that from.
really say to myself because I was in that place post-menopause going, maybe this is it. And I was like, no, this can't be it. We've too much time left to be
Yeah, I'm
it.
far too busy for that nonsense.
And sometimes you have to give yourself a little talking to. Though you can still do it, you can still get the results, it still works. And we
Yep.
know that because we had to do it last year.
Well, my when my 6-year-old son used to tell people my mummy's on a special diet because she wants to be really healthy and be able to run around with me, which is the narrative that he was given when he was 6 years old, and I lost 7 stone. And yesterday I was in there, and it's easy peasy. Number one, why? Because it was before my third one was even born. I had these two boys, and that was it. That was my why. And I would show up for them. I would do anything for them. I would stick to plan for them. You know, any parent out there knows what I'm talking about. Um, anybody that's had any experience of showing up and doing what they said they would do because they love that person so much, and there's no question. You don't the voices in your head, they start giving you a hard time and you're like, nope, that's why people talk about no, one
Yeah.
needing to understand your why. Yesterday we had a big snow dump and we went to the park with the sledge, and my 6-year-old is 16, and he's 16 and he turned around to me and the look on his face, mummy, will you go on the sledge down that hill? It's not very steep. I promise you won't go very fast. And it was like a time warp. It was like a rip in the space-time continuum. And I looked at this 6 foot 16-year-old and the look on his face, and I just went, yeah, of course I will. Yes, of course I will, because you're why I'm here. You're why I fought so hard to show up for myself so that I don't have to worry about breaking the sledge. So that I
Yes.
don't have to worry about being able to get up the hill with my heart pumping. So that I don't have to worry about how I look or where I'm going to fall or how much I'm going to hurt because of it. I'm not going to have to, hide the fact that I can't do something because I don't care if they're 6 or if they're 16. The way he looked at me, I was just like, yes, I can. And I
Yeah.
did. And I swear to you, oh my gosh, it was like 80-degree angle and it was like 112 miles an hour. And
It was.
I
I've
look
seen
back,
the video. She
I
was
look
going
back,
so fast. She wasn't going
I
very
look back at the
slowly in not a very
video.
straight line at all. It was scary. But
It
it
was
is that,
terrifying.
if you want to
It was
be
about
in
this steep.
summer,
It was basically flat. And I was going on about 3 miles an hour and you could actually hear me scream.
but it is that, isn't it? Do you know what? It's being able to do the things you want to do without second guessing yourself, without thinking about your weight. It is, if you want to get to summer and be able to say, when someone says, do you want to come to the beach? Mummy, can we go swimming? And you just want to go, yeah. If you want to be at the theme park and not have to sit in that seat to check you fit and just join the queue like everybody else, you can. Those are the small things that make it worthwhile. It is
That's
the
the
fun of
freedom.
life. It's the freedom. That is why we do this. And that is worth every single moment of showing up for yourself.
Yes.
Because when
I'm the kind of
moments
person
happen,
who,
you
I'm the
will be
kind of person
amazing.
who,
Yeah.
whatever that is. I'm the kind of person who can go sledding with the kids or go to Chessington, or I'm the kind of person who can, do couch to 5K. I'm the kind of person who can lose all of the weight and choose not to do any of those things. But you already are, you can be. And I think the biggest message about the body doubling is sometimes we will be the ones who believe that to be true on the days where you forget it. And that is the offering. It's a, unless we did these videos, unless we unpacked it, it can all sound a bit like hot air. I mean, nobody will be listening at this point because we're just chatting, Heidi, but any part of this that got to the right person. I don't care about views. I don't care about likes. I don't give two
That's not why we're here.
hoots. I care about being that responsibility that I feel to carry that torch for being here. How many times have we said it to each other, Heidi? Just want to be here for that those people that, just don't feel seen, don't feel heard, feel like they are alone in that. You're not. We see you. We see you, and we're absolutely 100% here for you. And you can.
You can, and you don't have to do it alone. You can come do it with us. So if any of that has resonated, you would like more information, you would like a chat, our links are always in the description box below. You can get in contact with us, you can ask questions, or you can just click the booking link, get yourself booked in. It's free. Come get started, have the chat, find out what it's all about, book yourself in, click the link, and we will always be happy to see you, talk through anything that you would like to know, and get you moving in the right direction so you can feel better ASAP and start getting the
Absolutely.
results that make a difference.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
what
just
it's
the
about.
brain power that you've already spent worrying about it and looking at, and worrying about when you're gonna, what you're gonna, how do you gonna
I
just
mean, if you've got to this point, just click the link. For God's sake, click the link. You've watched all of this. Come on now. Go have a lovely week and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
bye.